In the Middle Ages, becoming a knight meant training, sacrifice, and unshakable loyalty. Let's explore the truth behind the legend. Medieval knights were more than warriors. They upheld order, loyalty, and Christian virtue. Chivalry was built on courage, loyalty to one's lord, and deep devotion to the Church's divine authority. Chivalry emphasized courage, loyalty to one's lord, and devotion to the Church, core virtues in every knight's moral code. The path to knighthood began at age 7, when noble boys became pages in a lord's household. Page training was for noble sons, preparing them for court life and the journey to knighthood. Though rare, talented boys of lower birth could become pages under a noble's favor. Pages learned horsemanship by grooming and feeding stabled war horses, earning their trust over time. Falconry taught pages patience, discipline, and the noble traditions of aristocratic life. Pages trained with short swords and wooden weapons to build strength and learn knightly combat basics. Clergy taught young pages courage, loyalty, and Christian virtues essential to the knightly path. At 14, boys became squires, training with weapons and serving knights in real battles and grand tournaments. Squires polished their knight's armor, learning discipline and care for the tools of war. Squires sharpened their knight's sword, practicing patience and precision in war's silent rituals. Squires trained with lances on horseback, building balance, aim, and strength for war and tournaments. Sword and shield training taught squires timing, defense, and how to move with the rhythm of battle. In wartime, squires guarded their knight's tent, learning vigilance, duty, and the burden of responsibility. Squires were taught to honor noble women, learning courtesy, humility, and the refined virtues of knighthood. Squires joined real campaigns, facing battle firsthand before earning the right to become true knights. Squires joined military campaigns, gaining battle experience before earning their place as full-fledged knights. Tournaments gave squires a chance to prove their courage and skill, blending fierce combat with honor-bound spectacle. Some knights roamed from city to city, fighting in tournaments for glory, riches, and a name among legends. Knights fought in tournaments not just for sport, but for honor, glory, and a name remembered beyond the battlefield. Tournaments drew great crowds. Nobles and commoners came to see squires prove their skill and earn respect. Tournaments followed strict codes, but knights still risked their lives, fighting for pride, glory, and remembrance. Tournament armor offered extra protection, built to absorb impact and prevent injuries during brutal jousts. Jousting was the main event. Knights charged on horseback, aiming lances with deadly skill. Victory in tournaments brought more than glory. Knights won gold, weapons, land, and noble favor. Before knighthood, squires proved themselves through valor in war or triumph in brutal tournament trials. In battle, brave squires could be knighted on the field, honored for valor, loyalty, and service in the face of danger. The dubbing ceremony was a sacred ritual that marked the squire's passage into knighthood. By the 12th century, knighting became formal, blending sacred vows, oaths of chivalry, and church tradition. Before knighthood, squires bathed in solemn silence, cleansing body and spirit for the sacred rite ahead. On the eve of knighthood, squires held silent vigil, praying through the night for strength, courage, and divine favor. With a solemn sword tap on each shoulder, the Lord proclaimed the sacred words, "Arise, a knight of honor." Chivalry stood at the heart of medieval culture, shaping ideals of honor, faith, love, and noble identity. Chivalry inspired the epic poems, courtly tales, and illuminated art that defined the spirit of medieval Europe. Armor, weapons, and war horses made knighthood costly. Only the wealthy could walk the path. Knighthood demanded great wealth. Armor, weapons, and war horses made the path to honor a privilege of the rich. Courage stood at chivalry's core, leading knights through fear, fierce battles, and unwavering duty to honor. Courage was the battlefield face of chivalry, where ideals met steel and honor was proven under fire. Honor was the cornerstone of chivalry, defining a knight's worth beyond victories, wealth, or power. Honor was the most precious treasure of chivalry, shaping how knights lived, fought, and were remembered. Knights showed deep respect for noblewomen, drawing inspiration from their grace, loyalty, and presence. Chivalry demanded both moral virtue and military discipline, guiding knights in battle, loyalty, and honor. A knight's shield and coat of arms reflected his identity, family honor, and noble lineage. Coats of arms reflected a knight's family identity, symbols of bloodline, honor, and noble tradition. The sword was both a knight's weapon and a sacred symbol of honor, loyalty, and chivalric duty. A knight's armor served as both protection in battle and a shining symbol of noble rank and identity. Knightly armor evolved steadily from chainmail to full plate, starting in the 12th century and refining over generations. By the 14th century, armor became more protective. Plate replaced chainmail to better defend knights in brutal combat. For knights, the horse was more than transport. It was a loyal partner and a weapon in battle. War horses were armored too, protected by steel barding to survive the brutal chaos of medieval combat. Knights often led in battle, commanding troops with courage, strategy, and the authority of their noble rank. Knights swore loyalty to both their lord and the church, binding their honor to faith, duty, and feudal law. Knights served lords in exchange for land, binding them to feudal loyalty, service, and protection. Knights protected their lords' lands and the peasants, defending villages from raiders and upholding peace. Chivalry was tightly bound to Christianity, linking knightly duty with faith, virtue, and divine service. The church was a guiding force, shaping the virtues and moral discipline of chivalric life. Knights were duty-bound to support the church, defending its lands and offering gifts to uphold faith. Knighthood held high status in feudal society, commanding respect, land, and influence between nobles and commoners. Knights displayed their status at castle feasts, celebrating honor, loyalty, and wealth in grand ceremonial gatherings. Knights preserved order in feudal society, upholding justice, loyalty, and the balance of power. Knights bore the duty to protect society, defending the helpless and standing as symbols of service and justice. Protecting the weak was a sacred duty of knighthood, defending the helpless with courage and honor. Knights fought with courage and led troops, serving as both warriors and commanders in medieval war. Knights fought in the front lines, where steel clashed, lances shattered, and courage met chaos. After Edward's death, 3 rivals claimed the throne. William accused Harold of breaking a solemn vow of loyalty. Harold vowed to support William's claim to the English throne, but later broke that sacred oath made on holy relics. In 1066, Duke William launched a full-scale invasion, bringing knights, archers, and infantry to conquer England. At Hastings, Norman cavalry charged the Anglo-Saxon shield wall repeatedly, breaking it down after hours of relentless attacks. Using feigned retreats, Norman cavalry trapped the Saxons, securing victory after King Harold fell in battle. On Christmas 1066, William was crowned king, ending 500 years of Anglo-Saxon rule in England. The Normans established feudal rule, allowing chivalric culture to rise as armored knights came to dominate England. In the Crusades, knights wielded their swords for faith, marching under the cross across foreign lands. The Crusades fused chivalry with sacred duty, turning knights into warriors of faith as well as battle. Gunpowder ended the age of knights. Plate armor crumbled before the firepower of a new era. Chivalry left a lasting mark. Its ideals echo in modern ethics, honor codes, and justice. The SCA revives knightly traditions, keeping medieval honor and pageantry alive in modern times. Today, courage and honor echo through quiet acts, not with swords, but through integrity, duty, and compassion. Centuries have passed, but the spirit of knighthood lives on. Stay with us to explore the past.